This is our Wednesday night channeling, number 156, March 20th, 1991. The title of our class tonight is called Give a Hand. I was surprised too. And the reading, let's have a quiet time first though. Let's relax our bodies and relax our mind. Feel ourselves coming together in the circle of light as one entity, one with all life. And think of this light getting brighter and brighter. And we're lifting our consciousness to a higher frequency, to those on the realms of divine love and light. And they're reaching down to meet us. And everyone here on the physical as well as the other dimensions that have come to learn are a part of the contact. And I feel a warm feeling of gratitude that the weather did not keep you from coming tonight, because there's been quite a few who have come regularly from the other side, just as you have come from the physical. And they are grateful for the Wednesday night classes. Let's send them God's love. Send God's love to all the invisibles around us, to all those who work with those who work from higher dimensions of love and light, those planes below, to bring God's love and light, understanding. Thank you, Father. Give a hand. You will always be able to find another who is in a worse condition than you. When you feel down and out, the whole world against you, look around and you will find someone you can help. When it seems you are at your rope's end, find someone you can help. Giving a helping hand is the answer when you think all is lost. Giving and receiving are the ebb and flow of life. When you seem stuck, you can always find a way to give. This could start the cycle moving. If it doesn't, then give some more. You may find yourself caught up in the joy of giving that you forget about your needs. If you can allow this to happen, then you have received one of the greatest gifts, joy. It is a joyful feeling to give unconditionally. The Creator is continuously giving you His life force with all its power and wisdom to do with as you will. Another great inspiration is gratitude. Be grateful for what you have, and more will be added to you. Even though life moves in a direction not to your liking, you can always turn the magic potion of being grateful for what you have and look for someone to lend a helping hand. Those who are disappointed in life are those who have not learned to be helpful and grateful. This plain is not always a bed of roses. It is plain filled with opportunities. You may choose to label them trouble and problems, but you can always turn them into opportunities. Happiness is not received, happiness is not served to you on a silver platter. It is created by your attitude. Now let's read that again. That's a good statement. Happiness is not served to you on a silver platter. It is created by your attitude. What position do you take at this situation? You can be sorrowful or sad, or you could turn it into an opportunity for understanding and growth. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Gaurdian, coming to you from these realms of divine love and light. It is a joyful time for us to come together, and it is good that you did not let the weather interfere with your coming together at this time, for we have someone special from far, far away who has come to be with you. In our understanding from these realms, we do not have the concept of time or space, but there are many different parts of the universe and different levels and different dimensions. And to communicate with you about this, we have to use your language. This is an entity who does not choose to give a name, but wishes to speak with you, and this is his first time to be with you. Excuse me, this is a female, as you would think of it. From our dimensions, when you get to a certain level, you do not think of male or female, but the gender of this individual is a female, and she will not speak in a feminine voice, she says, but she wanted you to know that in her last incarnation and in her overall I'm reaching into things now that we do not have words for in your language, but her gender was mostly feminine when she was on the levels that you're on. I will relinquish to her at this time. Good evening, my dear ones. It is indeed a pleasure to be with you and to be in your circle. Even though it be small in number in the physical, I assure you that it is not small in number from this side of the veil. This is a wonderful opportunity to come to you and speak to you about this subject of lending a hand, giving a hand, giving of yourself, for it is truly a magical thing when you learn to give unconditionally. There are not too many on your dimension who know how to give unconditionally, but there are a few, and they earn a great deal more than the others who give with thought of return. To give is to receive, for you cannot receive another breath until you give one out. You cannot, if you were to stop your flow of money, for example, as it was mentioned this evening by one of your number, you would not receive any more. And this is one of the things that caused your so-called depression many years ago in your time. It is a subject that is not talked about enough, I feel, and this is why I have come to your group to give you the understanding and enlightenment that has been given to me. It is one of the things that your master teacher taught you. He gave his whole life to whomever and wherever he was. He did not think of himself. He gave his understanding. He set a pattern for you to go by. And when he was to be nailed on the cross, he even gave up his physical body for a time to demonstrate to you that there is no such thing as death. But also, there is another message here that I would like to point out, and that is of giving. And to you, you might think that would be giving the ultimate, is to give your physical life. As we know, life from these dimensions, there is no death. There is no departure from life, because life is eternal. Life is one, and you are life, and all of you are one with all of life. This you do not remind yourself enough of the time. And when you see someone on the street who does not have a home, who may be hungry, remember that you are one with that individual in life. You're one with all of life. And it is good to remind yourself of this. It is good to remind yourself that you and all of life are one. Even those dictators that are so hated in your world, down through history there has been those who had knowledge and wisdom to master a lot of people and mistreat them and abuse them. But I tell you, my dear ones, even those you are one with in God and in life. When you can learn the fallacy of duality, as you have been told so many times, you will understand this, and you will realize that your plane is a plane of learning, and this is all. It is not a place to be comfortable, to be happy, to be joyful, to be rich. There is nothing wrong with being those things, as your teacher has told you many times, but it is a place of learning. And the props have been set on your stage so that it will give you the opportunity to learn. Whatever besets you at this time, whatever is in front of you, as your teacher has said, is what you have come to learn. And so think in those terms. whatever is in front of you right now, whatever confronts you, let's see, your slang, whatever bugs you the most, should we say. Maybe it depresses you at times. And this is the opportunity that you should take to work with. Now, these are just words, my dear ones. They're only words until you realize that God is the life force within you, and God has all the answers. God is love, and He wants you to understand. He wants you to grow and expand. But you have to start from where you are, not from where you would like to be. You need to start from where you are. And as I'm speaking, I realize that I'm drawing on many of Donald's sayings, but this is the way that this channel is working. And if it were different and I were to take complete control of the body, the words would come out in a different way. I have learned English pretty well because I've been working with other groups in your area and in other galaxies. I have been working with planets where they have similar situations as you do. You would be amazed at how many planets are very similar to yours over the universe, that are growing and expanding, that are learning, and are very near the growth and stage of growth that your planet is. All of them are different, but the important thing to learn is divine love. You've been told this many times, but it cannot be stressed enough. When you learn to love yourself and to love the God within you, then can you call upon this power within you, and it will respond. If it does not respond to your liking, then there is a reason for it. And the next step would be to find what that reason is. Is it time for you to learn this? Do you have the consciousness or the understanding to bring this up to your conscious awareness and to make it real in your physical life so that you can deal with it? Or should you learn other things first, like you learn to add and subtract before you learn to divide and multiply? This is so true in soul's growth, my dear ones. It is true, and it is good example. You do have to take one step at a time and first things first. And here is the surprising part about this, is that each one of you are so different, that each one of you has a different path and a different way of learning. It is very simple to say you need to learn to add and subtract before you can divide and multiply. But you see, each one of you have different experiences from the past. And so you have to learn different things before you can learn something else. I pray that this is making sense to you, because it is true that you are all different, and you have to remember this and not judge yourself by others. The divine ability that dwells within you is all-powerful and all-wise. Why do you not use this? Because you have not learned how. And God does not condemn you for this. We do not condemn you for this. And you should not condemn yourself. You are where you are, and this is where you have to work from. You have to start from. So, when you are confronted with that situation that is in front of you, and you want to understand it and move beyond it, rise above it, then realize that it is that divine power within you that is going to give you this understanding. For it is the understanding that brings about the growth. If you did not understand how to add and subtract, you could not understand how to divide and multiply. And as your teacher has told you so much, that your foundation is built from understanding the true laws of life. Now, what keeps you from doing this is your entanglement with the illusions of this physical plane. And all in this room have grown much, much more than the average person on this planet. But you are still entangled in the concept of duality and the illusions of this plane, maybe to a greater extent than you realize. There may be, in the future, maybe not from this channel that I'm speaking through, but there may be a messenger that comes to show you the way out of your entanglement with illusion. You see, when it has been repeated over and over in your consciousness for many, many lifetimes, many centuries, it is difficult to change this and bring it out into the light and see the truth about it. Maybe you will get a glimpse of what it means, but then you turn right around and you're right back in the physical plane, playing the game of illusion again. This, as I listen to this, it sounds like a sermon to you, but it is a message that I do want to bring to you. And I used this title to make a beginning so that you could learn to give more of yourself. And sending God's love is one of the best ways of giving yourself as a channel for God to work through. If you feel that your life is too busy and that you do not have time to go out and help others or do volunteer work, and some of you are in a state where you cannot do this, and I do not even suggest that you do it, but you can always give God's love through you and let it go out unlabeled and let God use it, because it is in such great need, especially here on your planet. In our conversation this evening, we have come to a place where we are talking about the things that are in front of you and the things that you want to overcome, to move forward in your soul's growth. And if in your mind you do not think of something right now, I say to you, you should sit down and have a talk with yourself and realize that there is something in front of you that you can work with to move you forward more rapidly in your soul's growth, if you want to take the time to do it. And this phrase, take the time, is to you a bit of a trap, because you're so involved in time and rushing here and rushing there. This is the way that your play has been set up, your stage on this planet Earth. But I tell you, there will come a day when you realize that you do not have to rush here and rush there, that there is an abundance of everything for everyone, and that you can be relaxed, you can be at peace, you can take God's countenance and His presence, His conscious awareness with you everywhere you go. This is the answer for all your needs, is to have a better contact with the life that you are, the God that dwells within you. As you take each breath, think of this breath as God. As you look through your eyes, think that God is looking through your eyes also. As you hear what others say, God is there with you, hearing all these things. He is the life force that you are. Maybe you have heard these words, but maybe you do not really, maybe they did not sink in to the full depth of the meaning that you could take benefit from. In saying this, the point that I am getting at is to tell you that when you do realize this, then you have access to this power. You have access to God and to God's abilities, but your free will interferes with your taking the greater advantage of this. Your free will, coupled with your habit patterns of thinking and your way of life on your physical plane, has kept you from a fuller contact with that divinity that dwells within you. And it keeps you from realizing your own divinity, realizing that you should love yourself, unconditionally love yourself, no matter what so-called mistakes you might make, no matter what happens around you, no matter what somebody thinks about you, or what happens, it doesn't matter. Love yourself. For this play on the stage is just a play, and you have agreed to play the role that you're playing, and play it in the way that you're playing it, to learn and to grow by. And the thing to learn in the final analysis is that you are not that role that you're playing. You are divine, and that God is with you every step of the way, and that you have access to His love and His light of understanding, His power and His ability. If I can communicate this one thing to you tonight, and help you to understand the awesomeness of this statement, that you always have access to the power of God, to all His wisdom, but you can only take what you can understand. There is a saying, if you go to the sea with a thimble, you can only take a thimble of water with you. But if you go with a bucket, you can take more. Now, it is where you are coming from at this moment. It is where your understanding and your consciousness, your level of consciousness is, depends on how much you can access yourself to this awesome power of God and His wisdom and His love. And love is the key. I say this over and over to you because you must love yourself, because you are God incarnate. You must realize this in order to be able to love yourself. Eliminate any guilt, self-condemnation of anything from the past or the present, or anything that might happen in the future. Eliminate that altogether and realize that it doesn't matter. Let me give you an example. Your recent dictator, Saddam Hussein, is responsible for a lot of people losing their physical bodies. But in God's eyes, He loves him and Hitler and Napoleon, all the others, just as much as He loves any and every one in the universe. With your human reasoning, with most, I should say, on your plane, human reasoning, this does not sound correctly, but it is, because this plane is not real. It is just a play. Maybe it is time that I stop and give you opportunity to ask questions and have dialogue, a two-way dialogue with you.
I have a question.
Yes.
What you said about this plane not being a plane of enjoyment and all the things that we tend to think about, but that it's a place to learn, kind of made me think about the things that I've been thinking about lately in my life. When you think about what's going to happen next and the decisions that you make, I tend to think, well, I want to get my bills paid off and get a comfortable house, and instead of making any kind of change in my life, like say have another baby or starting a career or do something like that. Is that not or focusing on the physical too much?
This is a part of your role, and it's not that you think about these things, but it's how you think about them. When you think about them with love and with gratitude and giving a helping hand, if maybe you want to have another baby. You see, this baby that you have given it a helping hand to bring it into the physical, to give it opportunity. That's the way you should think of these things. And you need a house to shelter the physical body and the money to pay the mortgage. This is all a part of the play. Do not get caught up in condemning yourself for this, but on the other hand, do not concentrate on it too much. If most on your plane, that is what they're caught up in, is materialism as you think of it. And that is their whole act in their minds. It is not what they wanted to do before they incarnated, but they get caught up in the illusions of this plane. I do not feel that you're caught up in the illusions, that you put that before your soul's growth. You see, having the baby, making a living, doing the things that you do is, what word should I use? The word catalyst comes to my mind, but it is not quite fit. But it is the thing that gives you the something to push against, the opportunity to grow, because there are many things that come up in raising children and in taking care of your house and getting along with your mate and all of these things. You see, these are experiences, and this is what you came to have, is experiences to learn to add and subtract so you can divide and multiply. Now, that may not compute with you, but you do what you do on this plane because that's the way the play and the props are set up. They're set up that way to give you the opportunity to be happy about it or to be sad about it, to be grateful about it or to complain about it. Do you understand?
Yes, that gave me a good idea. So if you have, so every experience you should just be grateful for, no matter how incidental or how...
This is true. You see, it is your attitude. The attitude is very important. It's the position that you take. And if you take a loving attitude towards everything that you do and everyone that you meet, you see, everything is in harmony. You are in harmony with life. Whenever you love yourself, and those vibrations go out from you of loving yourself because you're loving God and you're loving life, then all your life falls into place. And you continue to have these tripping stones that some people call are opportunities to see how you're doing. And if you get angry sometimes, I didn't do so well that time, but do not scold yourself. Do not feel guilty. This is one of the greatest mistakes that those who are trying to grow spiritually make, is guilt and self-condemnation. Just say, no, that's not the right thing. Love is the answer. Love is the key. And love yourself and love the opportunity. Be grateful for the opportunity. No matter how bad it seems to be. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes. It is joyful to be with you and to share God's love and His light with you. Are there other questions this evening?
I have a question. Not so much a question, but something to say. Well, I sense from the channel a very eagerness attitude in reference to bringing the message to us this evening. And I've been noting myself over the last couple of days, based on my spiritual enlightenment from listening to some of the other channeling tapes and just other things that I've been reading, kind of an eagerness to greet the day, I guess, right in tune with what the message is about. And I won't say it's ironic that I'm here tonight, but tonight was the most eagerness I felt in regard of wanting to be here, because I missed the channeling the last couple of weeks, and now I know why.
Yes.
I don't know that I feel like I have to. Part of me feels like I'm should ask a question, but I guess I'm kind of answering it as I speak. But I just want to let channel know that I really feel very in touch with it, with her.
Yes, it is the being in the presence and feeling the vibrations of love. And it is a wonderful opportunity that so many people miss that they could have, but they are not ready, or they would not, or they would be here. When you give of yourself to take the time to come to a circle of light like this, you are giving. You are giving your self as a channel for light and love to flow through, to make this contact. And you know not how many it helps from the other dimensions, from each other, from the tape that someone may hear years from now or next week. You see, you lend your life force. You lend God's life force through you, and that's giving. I want you to understand how important it is to give of yourself. And the most important thing you can give of yourself is to love yourself. This will give life more than anything else at your place in growth, is to truly love yourself, every part of yourself, even the so-called mistakes, because they're truly not. They're just opportunities, and they are there for you to use. Are there other questions this evening?
You mentioned that there might be a re-shortcoming. Are you care to elaborate on that?
I did not intend to imply what you were saying, but in your new age, I will say that there will be those who materialize from these dimensions before you, and as they did in the time of Atlantis, and they will talk of greater wisdom. You see, when a great being of light materializes in the physical, they are a much greater channel than is happening at this moment. You see, they have brought their being completely into the physical, and that power is going out, and the light of understanding is going out to everyone who hears it. In this situation, you are hearing the words, and your teachers and guides are sending light into your minds and love into your hearts to help you to understand and to get the most that you can in your particular way for this. And the same with those on this side of the veil who have come to learn. But as your new age moves farther along, and it will be a few years, who can say how many, but it will be in your new age that there will be beings of light and love completely materialize before your eyes and speak to you. At that time, there will be many more who are open for this that you are involved in. Many more are opening up every day to this new way of thinking as you call the New Age thought. That is one of the labels that you have put upon it. But it does not matter what label you put upon it. It is the truth coming through with much more validity than has been in the past. Do these words make sense? Yes. Yes, you can look forward, and most of you, if not all of you, may be in the physical. If you're not in this incarnation, you may come back, or you may be working from the other side. And I tell you, this is a wonderful and beautiful opportunity, the most opportune time, as you have been told, to be in the physical in the history of your planet. And it is a grand, grand experience that is ahead of you that you have no concept of at this moment. Are there other questions this evening?
You mentioned that more and more people are becoming open to this way of thinking we're studying and learning from. Is it that our people that are involved in this, their consciousness is starting to, I'm going to use this from a term of numbered, but at present, based on the physical, the number of people that are studying metaphysics are in a smaller number proportion to the masses. Is it that the momentum of this kind of thing from the spirituality standpoint is so much more powerful that the momentum, it seems to be, in this New Age carrying?
Yes.
And people are, other people are, the masses are questioning.
This is true. Now, there's another point to this, too. Donald could give you a testimonial. I will give it. I've been with him for a few weeks to I do not want to say this in the wrong way, but at our level, we can be in several places at one time. But I've been with Donald so to prepare myself to talk with you. But in one of his students had a best friend who was having very emotional problems. And he came to the class and became a student. And I can see, and he does not believe in any of this. His wife does to a certain degree, but I can see that in his future little ways that he will come to this belief. So you see, here's what I'm saying, is that your consciousness, your vibrations is going out and affecting others around you, whether you know it or not, and whether they know it or not. And some of them are directly and some of them are indirectly. And so it does spread this way. But another way that it is coming about is that the older generations of the dogmatic way of thinking will die off. And the new ones, like this one, coming in, for these higher vibrations, will bring in a higher understanding than your generation has. And it will soon be a time you will have some more of your troubled times in your world, but it will soon be a time when the ones who are not ready to conform to the light, to move into a greater understanding, that choose to stay in darkness, will not be able to incarnate. And so this is the way that it is changing rapidly, and that you think of time as very slow. To us, it is very rapid. And so 2, 3 generations from now, a lot of your dogmatic individuals will change, and a lot of them will graduate to these dimensions and have a greater opportunity to understand from here, and then maybe reincarnate with a greater understanding. This is your new age. The power that this planet is receiving now is such a great power that it cannot help but change. And your world, as it has been known before, will never be the same. And it will be a wonderful and beautiful experience if you can stay with the planet through these changes, whether on this side or in the physical. Or maybe you want to come back and reincarnate. When you have a strong desire to be of God, to learn God's love, and to move higher in consciousness, the strength of this desire brings about your wishes, brings about the conditions that you want. Are there other questions this evening?
I have a question about the mass consciousness. We've been discussing that quite a bit and how it affects our life and our decisions. If we don't make decisions about certain things, how does the mass consciousness?
It only affects you as you let it. And it is when you let yourself down a little bit that it can come in on you. And this is why I talk so much about taking God with you into your day, taking His love, learning to love yourself, to love life, and to take it with you into everything that you do, because it can't come in then. It cannot get in through that light and love. When you remember to remember who you are and to keep that thought alive, then the darkness around you has no power.
Then this would be also obviously the thing to do. In touching on that, we've talked about if you don't make a conscious choice to be different or think different, then just based on being, I'll use the word lazy and not making a choice to think a certain way, do you automatically get caught up in the mass consciousness?
It depends on what level you're vibrating at, where your level of consciousness is. You see, when you reach a certain plateau, maybe you don't ever go back to where you were before, and you automatically see it becomes a habit, like your habit patterns. And that is what Donald is helping you to do, is to make it a habit pattern for you to automatically be loving all the time, to think in loving terms, to eliminate condemnation of yourself or anyone else, and to see through the illusion and see the truth and see God everywhere that you look. That is what you're working towards, is to make that a habit, and so that when it becomes a habit, then you don't drop down anymore. It is yours. You have earned it, and it cannot be taken away from you. You will fluctuate while you are learning to do this. Be not discouraged about your fluctuations, but just keep on trying and keep on working with yourself.
Thank you.
You are a very interesting group, and it is a pleasure to be with you. I will leave you now, and I will leave you with the thought that give a helping hand first to yourself, and then to everyone you meet, and to everything that you come to. Remember that you're giving to God, because God is everything that is. God bless you, each one, and good evening.